Editor-in-Chief is live in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Okay, welcome to the program, September the 13th. You're with the Editor-in-Chief live with Lester's Oil, your multi-ingredient omega-3 healthy aging supplement backed by thousands of satisfied customers. Get the benefits of 6 supplements in one capsule to support joint, heart and health, brain health. Take as directed, read the label. It's About Health Auckland. Hi folks, I'm Duncan Garner. Leave us a comment. Get involved, leave us a message. All the details are there. The new cancer drugs that are now available, the game-changing investment by this government into Pharmac that could save your life. The Cancer Society's new CEO, Nicola Coom, will join us shortly. There is some incredible work going on behind the scenes with developments in our cancer treatment. So when can we say we're no longer the poor cousin to Australia? When can we say that? Johnny Day will be here to talk sport shortly too. And John Oliver sent last year's Bird of the Year flying, as in it went massive. So what is your Bird of the Year for 2024? Nicola Toki from Forest and Bird is always fun, and she will join us shortly. But right now it's news time. Here's MediaWorks Deputy News Editor. It is Grace Cocker. Good morning.
A challenge is being issued to the government to stop ignoring pleas from health workers. The nurses' organisation is frustrated by claims that 5 new targets are achievable with current resources. President Kerry Nuku says there is critical understaffing.
We're happy to sit around the table and have a realistic conversation of the reality, but we're never invited. And that is why we take to the streets and rallies and strikes, so that their voices can be heard.
There are calls for a hammer to be brought down on vape displays. The government has put forward a raft of proposals, including banning disposables. But Asthma and Respiratory Foundation CEO Letitia Harding says there are still gaps.
You know, you shouldn't be able to see these products just from the footpath. These are what our kids are walking past, brightly coloured stores that are very enticing.
A new fad has taken over Kiwis who fantasise about becoming homeowners. A Trade Me Property survey shows more than half of its respondents browse listings they wouldn't actually consider buying or are outside their budget. Spokesperson Gavin Lloyd says they've coined the term dream scrolling, which captures the what-if mentality. A billionaire's declared the Earth sure looks perfect as he performed the first ever privately funded spacewalk. Jared Isaacman was joined by SpaceX engineer Sarah Gillis. CNN's Kristen Fisher says it was the tech magnate's idea.
Wanted to help SpaceX advance humanity further into space. And so Jared went to SpaceX and said, what do you guys need? Let me be your guinea pigs.
To sport, wing Aisha Letiinga returns from a serious knee injury for the Black Ferns against England at Twickenham on Sunday. She went viral on the internet yesterday after hugging the King at Buckingham Palace.
If anything, I felt like he needed the hug more than me, but it was a great hug.
The one-off cricket test between the Black Caps and Afghanistan and India is set to be abandoned without a ball being bowled. Sky Sport commentator Andrew Leonard gives his outlook for Day 5.
The reality is there will be absolutely no prospect of play, and we can't really envisage anything else but an abandonment.
And in football, the Premier League's long-awaited hearing into Manchester City's 115 alleged charges relating to financial fair play rules will begin next week. That's News and Sport.
Thank you, Grace. I thought the Black Ferns and they asked the King for a hug. I mean, that did more to humanise that guy than anything he's done in 70 years.
Yes, and it was so cute because they asked him first. So good to point out they did ask him and he did say a hug. Oh, sure, why not? And then they all you could just see he just go, and he had like a little giggle and a smile on his face.
Yeah, but they didn't just have 1 or 2 hugs. They wrapped around him in like 3 or 4 or 5.
It was like a massive layer of cuddles.
He was loving it, wasn't he?
I know. Huh? I kind of like a little snuggle with the King. He looks like your pop, like you just want to give him a cuddle.
Yeah, well, he likes women, doesn't he? I mean, he's, you know. Well,
yeah, that's true. He's a womanizer.
I think he likes the hug, you know, and it's all legit and above board, and it's not like Andy, is it? No.
No, not like that.
Okay, thank you, Grace.
Duncan Garner, live.
All right, we'll have Nicola Coom join us very, very shortly. She knows all about cancer, so we'll have a chat to her, the Cancer CEO. But first, Johnny Day, let's talk sport. Nice to have you in the studio, mate.
Yeah, good to be here. Just talked to the Black Ferns on a Zoom call up here in England. So, of course, all the attention about Aisha Letiinga and hugging the King, but it is a big game for them on Sunday at Twickenham. 40,000 tickets already sold for the 80,000 seat stadium, so at least half full. The record for a women's rugby match was set last year between England and France, 58,000. So this is there or thereabouts.
Good numbers.
Yeah, considering 12 years ago, the last time the Black Ferns played at Twickenham was a curtain raiser for the men's game.
Yeah.
So they get a standalone game in 2024 and at least 40,000 people will be turning up. And Aisha Letiinga not only can hug a king, but she can steamroll opposition players. She's
the winger,
a
is she?
weapon. Yep, we haven't seen her since the World Cup final.
Yeah, well
she got
done.
an ACL injury, which is a nightmare. A lot of women's athletes getting ACLs, but she is a powerhouse. So with her on the wing, Sylvia Brunt, they call her the female version of Ma'anonu.
yes.
She is at centre, so we've got the power, but do we have the power up front in the tight five? Because that's where England normally beat us. Line-out drives, scrums, kicking the corner, boring rugby, but winning rugby. They've lost one game in about their last 50, and that was that World Cup final.
Quite a crucial final.
Yeah.
And they've got the journeyman coaching them.
Yeah, John Mitchell. Yeah, we're all still on a journey, are we? Man, it's taken him to the English women's rugby team.
Is there a team he hasn't coached?
Yeah, good question. Not many in New Zealand. Did he have the Chiefs and then the All Blacks, and then we kind of haven't seen him since? Did he coach the Chiefs? I can't even actually remember that far back.
I don't think even they were that
A lot
silly,
of
were
time
they?
in South Africa, a lot of time in England, and assistant coaching a lot of men's teams, and now he's in charge of the women's England team.
We're up against it, aren't we?
Yeah, absolutely. The TAB's got it about right. We're at $3.10. They're at $1.33. But we have been planning for this game all year. We haven't played a test for 2 months.
This is the problem. Is Bunting a good coach?
Well, he's a good environment creator. He's a good guy at giving players confidence. Is he a good tactical coach compared to Wayne Smith and what we had at the Rugby World Cup? He's not that good. He's not the professor.
No.
But he's just learning the role, I think, and trying to find another way to play, because at that World Cup, we just ran everything from everywhere, which is cool when opposition don't really know that you're going to do that, but once they do, they can suffocate you, force mistakes, and beat you. So you've got to find another way to play, and it's got to be with the forwards. So really interested to see if we can front up at Twickenham 2 a.m. on Sunday.
I might get up for that. Because the thing is, you need your forwards to win. If you win the battle up front, you win the game.
Yeah. Simple,
eh?
isn't it?
Old-fashioned, but what else we got?
Sunday's a massive game for me. I'm going to take bereavement leave on Monday, potentially, because I've got Tasman in the Ranfurly Shield against Wellington and Blenheim, my beloved Marco, at 2 p.m. And then at 6, my Manly Sea Eagles playing the Bulldogs in a knockout game of the NRL final. So if they both lose, I'm taking bereavement leave.
Well, you've used up your parental leave. Have you got any leave left?
I'm up to about 4 days, but I think bereavement leave, people take it for their second cousin who died.
Yes.
This is more important. It's my 2 sports teams that I've loved my whole life. I didn't even know my second cousin.
Well, Wellington's unbeaten.
I know they are. They put out their second stringers against Otago during the week and got the job done, and they welcome back Ruben Love, who's a sensational player. We haven't seen him for the All Blacks yet. And their midfielder, Billy Proctor, also back. So we've got David Havili. I would have liked it if we got Tyrell Lomax and Will Jordan, Noah Hotham, who hasn't even played a game, and Blackadder, but just the one for us.
Yeah. Well, Tasman's a gutsy team.
Yeah, mate.
But the Shield's coming home, Johnny.
Is it though? Is it? Yeah. I just love the magic of the Shield. And 8 days. I mean, if it is 8 days, at least it's better to have loved than lost than never loved at all. And that's kind of the attitude with the Ranfurly Shield.
Mentioning the word love, he's going to be all over you on some.
Yeah, he's dangerous, man. But we got Macca Springer back there, Levi Almoa. We got Finlay Christie, who got discarded from the All Blacks. So don't worry, we've got enough firepower.
Yeah, and you got heart too, guts.
Yeah. NRL finals tonight. They begin Roosters Panthers, which is an absolute ripping occasion. Panthers have got Nathan Cleary back, Storm Cronulla tomorrow. Those are the second chance games for the top 4 teams. And then sudden death, Cowboys Newcastle up in Townsville, which is a hard place to win. And Newcastle, I can't see them doing that. They do have Kalen Ponga though, so anything's possible. Yep. And like I mentioned, Dogs and Manly on Sunday. 50,000 people there. The Dogs return to the NRL finals for the first time in a long time. So that could be a bit testy.
God, you really realise what the Warriors have missed out on, because this is the crunch end of the tournament. This is when it gets really exciting.
Oh, how much fun was it last year when the Warriors hosted the Knights, didn't they?
Yeah.
And just singing that team song, the whole amount smart. Those were the days. Next year, guys. Next year. Your year.
Do you think so?
No, I thought this year was going to be your year. And the washed out test.
Oh, what a debacle.
In India. It's an interesting one, because at one point I'm like, this is an absolute shambles. Afghanistan cricket have taken us to some random ground outside of Delhi that's never hosted a test in its life, doesn't have proper drainage. The outfield isn't even sand-based like it is everywhere in the world these days to help the water go through in monsoon season. Like they should be punished, shouldn't they, by the match referee?
Are we going to, I know we're small guys, but we are also a cricket test nation. We need to write the sternest letter possible to the ICC or whoever it is and say, what the hell?
Yeah, exactly. Like, not good enough.
Well, treated like lepers.
Yeah, but then I looked at the 7 previous times this has happened with a test match being abandoned without a ball being bowled. 2 of them at Carisbrook. So we're not squeaky clean
Okay.
when it comes to this sort of stuff. Those are the days. Hey, did you ever go to a cricket game at Carisbrook?
I've only been to one rugby game at Carisbrook and I loved it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I was staying down there for a political trip, 1996, staying down there to cover, who was it, Jim Bolger. I purposely stayed overnight to go to Otago counties next day.
Oh, nice.
I loved it. It was so MPC.
Oh, mate, it was so good on the
Yeah.
embankment there, though. Oh, man, I've seen some sights there that probably can't be said, but
I saw a few.
yeah. So, oh, man, I miss those days of just great provincial rugby grounds. These days you get too big, too cavernous, and not enough people
Eden
there.
Park's like a concrete
having
bunker,
fun.
isn't it?
Yeah, they're
It's
taking
dreadful.
a game to a high school.
Good.
Yeah.
Well, that sums it up where it's at. Yeah.
Yep, Bay of Plenty. They were going to play them at Eden Park, but instead they're taking them to, I can't even remember what, King's? Maybe? Is that a high school in Auckland? I didn't go to school up
King's
here.
College.
Yeah, so from Eden Park to a high school
It's a
rugby
nice
field for
ground.
the NPC,
Well,
and
that's
that's probably where it should be.
That's
right?
us, Johnny. Good
yeah,
man.
that's it.
Appreciate it, mate. Well done.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, Kings. I've had a bit of publicity on this podcast, haven't they, Kings? The less said, the better. Nicola Coom knows all about cancer only too well. Not only is she the Cancer Society's new CEO, but she knows how cancer impacts families. She's lost family members, including her mum, to ovarian cancer. Her family carries a gene that significantly increases their chances of a cancer diagnosis. She's desperate for New Zealand to be more ambitious about cancer outcomes and says there has been a huge reaction to the new and latest cancer drugs rolled out this week. But there's so much more going on, so can we compete, say, with Australia? Are our advances that good? Nicola joins us now. Nicola, g'day. Welcome to the program.
Good morning. Good morning, Duncan. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Hey, so you've been in the role 3 months. How have you? What's your take on it?
I have been in this role for 3 months. Look, I think it's a really exciting time to be joining the Cancer Society in this capacity. I think in New Zealand we are on the cusp of some great change. I know we're going through challenging times, but I am quite buoyed actually by the recent announcements in the last few weeks, and I am pretty positive that we will see better cancer outcomes over the next few years. I think you wake up and you've only got two choices. You can either be positive and hopeful, or you can be pessimistic and down in the dumps. So I'm choosing to be optimistic about the future.
I think being positive also keeps you alive. You know, with a cancer diagnosis, which my mum had 10 years ago, she was damn sure she was going to beat it, and she was positive, you know, and she's come through it. And the thing about it is, these drugs that have come online this week, so you've seen the drugs, the first of the rollout from the government's new and big spend, these could be life-saving drugs. What's been the reaction to them?
Oh, absolutely. You know, this is a great example where the money is getting directly to the families. So, this was a significant, first of its kind investment into cancer medicines, and quite frankly, well overdue. You know, we were and we still are, but sitting at the bottom of the OECD as you and many of the people that who've been advocating for this for many years have been saying. And so this is the first step of us starting to get off the bottom, and no one wants to be on the bottom of a step, of a ladder like that. So this first announcement for these two drugs particularly will start to lift us. The impact on families is huge. These will extend life. This will give people more time with their families. It'll also mean they don't have that financial burden of funding these drugs themselves. We've been a country that's been funding cancer medicines through give a little pages.
Yeah.
And that's not good enough.
It's no policy to have.
So this is a start. This is a start.
Yeah.
Of change.
And I think this really is. This is the first time I've seen a government invest properly, even though they forgot about it in the budget that came a bit later. Yeah, okay, so they got hammered for that. But the end of the matter is they funded it, $600 million. That's the biggest investment I've seen in my entire sort of 30 years of covering politics and news and everything. I've never seen a government put one drop of $600 million in at one go as an increase. It's phenomenal.
Oh, it is. I totally agree. And yes, there's an argument we need more, and yes, we do. But I think this is a really great first start. And it's not just that. We've also, in the last few months, had an increase in the NTA, which is the National Travel Assistance Scheme. So that's a scheme that supports families get to their treatment. So you might be living on the West Coast and you need to travel to Christchurch to have your chemotherapy or your radiation. And as you can imagine, if you're coming backwards and forwards, the cost of that, particularly with petrol and accommodation, is quite significant. And for some, it's actually been a barrier. So we had an increase in that as well. of about 18 million. So
how hard is it to get that?
Things are happening.
Yeah, how hard is it? I've never heard about the transport allocation. I saw that the other day, and I was wondering how hard is it to access and to get some money, and how much do you get, and what's it like to go through that process?
Oh, you need a whole show just on that, Duncan.
Oh, really?
Look, the process itself is probably the next step. To be honest, the process is slow and it's clumsy. So the money has now come to those families. So they have had a $40 increase. So that's gone from $100 to $140 a night for accommodation in terms of allowance.
Mm-hmm.
So that's significant. The process, though, is the next step. And look, I was really buoyed by a meeting I had with the minister on Monday, who was very clear that his expectation is that part of this NTA package is an improvement in this process, and this needs to be automated, and that the manual filling out of forms and the process for accessing this is not good enough. And he, right there in front of me, he asked his advisors for an implementation plan, effective immediately. So the action is coming.
I think Shane Retty's been slightly a breath of fresh air, to be honest, in health. We put so much money into it under the last 6 years, and where were the outcomes? They even stopped going for outcomes. They stopped their own internal tests of how they're doing. At least this government has targets. You need targets. When you spend so much money, you need targets to see where you're at. So good on them for doing that. Retty looks like he knows what he's doing. And I would say, though, you've got to sort out that transport fund, because I remember Dad filling out some forms to try and get some insurance cover for an MRI, I think, when he was going through his cancer stuff, and I saw the heartbreak. I'm just trying to fill out all this stuff, and it was just ridiculous. They've got enough going on. It needs to be as simple as possible.
Absolutely, couldn't agree more. And in this day and age, manual processes like that are unacceptable.
You personally, you've lost your mum to cancer, so you know what this is like, and you have a gene in your family that's no good.
Yeah, we do. We have the BRCA1 gene mutation, which means that carriers of that have a higher risk of breast and ovarian cancer. So my mum and many members of her family, sisters, passed of ovarian cancer, and that was some days. Yeah, as you know, some days it feels like 6 months ago. Sometimes it feels like a lifetime ago. But that is a driving force for me. And my dad's just recently finished prostate cancer treatment. So I know too well what the impact of cancer has on families, and the need for us to do better and to have better options for New Zealanders. I've also got family members who've travelled across the ditch to get treatment, to get access to what they consider is world-class standard care and world-class standard medicines. And I don't want that for anybody. Because of this gene, I know that it's a good chance that one, two, or all of my children have inherited it from me, and so I want to know that they and then their children have better options than what mum did and that what I've had. So that's my driver. Yeah, no,
and you're the perfect person to be sitting in that chair, because it needs to be survivor focused. It needs to be cancer survivor focused, doesn't it? Because it's got to be about the cancer. It's got to be about the cancer and the person suffering cancer. Just get rid of all this stuff we don't need and focus on the treatment, the drugs, and the people involved.
Absolutely, and I think we've got to be more ambitious for New Zealanders. We can't accept average. And if you look at many of our cancer stats, we are average and we're below average. For a small country like this, we should be punching way above where we are now, and it's not good enough. And we've I'm ready to join everyone and put our foot down, get loud, get noisy, and get some change happening. Yeah,
we're not a poor country. It's all about, to me, it's about, after covering this stuff for a while, it's about priorities. So every government sits down every year and puts a budget together. It's about priorities. If you want to put money into that, you will. If you want to put into that, you will. You take it from there. There's billions of dollars to spend. How are we going to spend it? It's simple. This should be, given the stats, a priority. And I think it slowly has become one.
Yeah, I do too. Cancer is the number one cause of death in New Zealand and has not received anywhere near the amount of funding over the last 10, 15 years that it should have. And as a result, all of those indicators have declined. And it's, that's kind of 101.
It is.
So we increase the investment and the outcomes will increase. It's not rocket science.
That's a no-brainer. Hey, I better dash, but I've chosen the Cancer Society as my charity for Celebrity Treasure Island. So you'd have to wait and see if there's any money coming your way, but I'm going to do my best, okay?
Thanks, Duncan. We're really grateful and we really appreciate your support.
No worries. All the best. Nice to have a chat. Good to catch up.
See you later.
Duncan Garner, live.
Yeah, well, now that there is a real person running an organisation that sometimes has been run by robots. So you've got a real person who knows about cancer, whose family has suffered this greatly, and is in the chair, survivor focused. I think it's great. I think it's brilliant.
Duncan Garner, live.
Right, let's do some questions.
3 questions from the Editor-in-Chief. 1.
And number 1, does Darlene Tanner have no shame? The former Green MP is so desperate to cling to her $170,000 parliamentary salary that she has gone to the High Court on all manner of technicalities in an attempt to keep her in pay. Problem is the Greens want her gone. They want to use the Walker jumping law to kick her out completely. It should be no business of the court and Parliament as lawmakers should have the ability to act in a sovereign way. This is a desperate attempt to stay on the taxpayer's tit. I can't imagine employers are lining up with job offers. And when she gets kicked out, she's stalling, she's buying time, she's hoping for her next payday. Isn't she?
2.
And number 2, oh yes, this is a shocker. Should National have ever let David Seymour loose to rewrite what the treaty means? It's a massive strategic blunder, I reckon, from Luxon. It gives Seymour a fresh platform to tickle the prejudices of Kiwis, and it will do nothing for race relations. And it's about to dominate parliamentary time. He's got 6 months with the select committee process from now until May. What a platform. And the thing is, well, National says it's dead in the water and it won't support it. Seymour doesn't care. He's after votes. And something tells me he'll pick up support along the way, maybe National voters as well. And the more Māori squeal about this, the more it helps Seymour, I reckon.
3.
And number 3, how much is one man worth? Mercury Energy's boss Vince Hawksworth, it seems, is valued at $3.4 million a year. That's what his salary package was last year, including salary and shares, $3.4 million, $62,000 a week. He's the guy that brings power to your homes via public assets that we've already paid for. His pay packet was 62% bigger last year than the year before. Well, it's good, but he runs a power company. We're all suffering from high prices, and he gets what? He earns 7 times more than the Prime Minister. Do you think that actually feels right? Well, I'm not sure.
Duncan Garner, live.
Okay, let's talk about the Bird of the Year. Now, the Bird of the Year is a beauty, isn't it? Forest and Birds Bird of the Year competition is back on, and who will you vote for? What bird will you vote for? Last year, John Oliver mouthed off about giving it, talking about it, gave it huge momentum. Nicola Toki is the wonderful CEO of Forest and Bird, and joins us now. Nicola, g'day, nice to see you.
Kia ora, how are you?
Good, really good. How's it going this year?
It's going really well. It's lovely, isn't it? Because I've noticed spring has sprung, so it's like feeling a bit more joyful out there. And people are getting really involved, really invested. There's a fair amount of sledging going on, but in mostly a good-natured way. We've so far got, I think we've had 33,000 or thereabouts people officially voting, but because we had some vote rigging going on in the past, so back in I think 2018 we had an Australian try and put hundreds of votes through for a shag.
Yeah.
Go where you like with that. We've had to introduce a vote verification system. So my plea to everyone is make sure you do that final step, because we've got 8,500 voters there who haven't verified their votes. So if you really want your bird to win, you've got to go through the process.
Is a shag in the mix this year?
I imagine, actually, I'll check. We have 74 birds in the mix. Can't recall them all off the top of my head, but I can take you through at least the top 5 currently.
Oh, go on.
So for now we've got and it's interesting because it's tipped. So I know you're like me, you're a bit of a political nerd, and I've been watching what's going on in the US with Kamala Harris and the other guy. It's a little bit similar with Bird of the Year. So as of last night, the hoiho, or yellow-eyed penguin, which is had this massive campaign by pretty much everyone in Dunedin, including Emerson's Brewery, who put out their own beer in honour of the hoiho.
This is great.
Has snuck its way to pole position, but sitting just under that is the karuri, or the Chatham Island Black Robin, which is one of my favourites. And the Victoria University Students Association are pushing that. But equally, in Victoria University, there's a campaign for the korora. So there's this campus kind of crazy battle going on. There's people running around Wellington dressed up as penguins. The whole thing's hilarious. And I'm loving it. So Kakapo, now I'm pretty sure you're one of the people that told me off it when we kicked Kakapo out.
Yeah.
Kakapo has kind of we put it back in. It's done really nothing to promote itself, and it's number 3 because everyone loves the Kakapo.
Yeah.
And then we've got Kia, of course, and then the Ruru or the Moorpork. So it's been fantastic watching it all happen. Voting closes on Sunday though, and then we announce Monday morning. So we really encourage everyone to get stuck in, and you can vote for 5 birds. So it's kind of like it's member proportional.
STV or something, isn't it? Hey, what
yeah,
about
that one, yeah.
Hey, what about the P Waka Waka? Is the P Waka Waka anywhere?
The P Waka Waka is definitely in the mix, and I spotted yesterday that comedian Tom Sainsbury has been nudging the P Waka Waka along a little bit. So yeah, it's kind of fun, and you know, with all the bad news that's sort of going on around the world at the moment, if you feel compelled to do some doom scrolling, I encourage you to get onto the Bird of the Year social media memes.
I think it's whoever brought this out, years ago, brilliant idea. I reckon it's time. It might be the year for the hoi ho. When I used to read books to my daughter, reading books. Well, who reads books anymore? But I read books to my daughter. It was about the hoi ho. So as soon as you said that, I thought, oh my god, I used to read the book about the hoi ho to my daughter. It's a popular thing, and it might be their year.
I think so, and look, the hoi ho needs all the help it can get, right? It's and it's one of those situations where we might a little bit take for granted that they'll always be here. We're down to just over 100 breeding pairs on the mainland.
Wow.
So back in the day when you were reading your daughter those books, they were still in trouble. Now they're really in trouble, which is why the Otago Museum, the Dunedin Wildlife Hospital, the Jane Goodall, Helen Clark put out a video a couple of days ago vying for the hoi ho. So they've gone hard with their campaigning, and maybe rightly so.
Yeah. The book was I think the name of the hoi ho was Sean. It was Sean. We had to survive. Sean had to survive this whole book, and Sean at the end of it survives, which is a great thing. The state of conservation, our forests and birds under this government, have we gone forward, backwards? Too early to tell?
I mean, it's early. I would say government after government has significantly underinvested in conservation, right? And what we're worried about, I think, at the moment is the cumulative impact of a number of policy kind of reforms, which together kind of might be the final nail in the coffin for many of our threatened species. So, you know me, I'm the eternal optimist, but we are having to work pretty hard out there to raise awareness of some of the major threats of the policy reform, and then just underinvestment. Like, you can't, and further to that, if you think about what the conservation reputation of New Zealand brings to the country, and so people come here to walk around in the national parks and go on great walks and all that stuff, see our native wildlife. Last year alone, that brought $4.1 billion to the New Zealand economy, and yet we continue to fund the Department of Conservation on less than the budget of the Christchurch City Council. It's madness. So, we're working pretty hard to get those stories out there and to work with decision makers and officials to see if we can sway them.
I've always thought the Department of Conservation has this an envious job of it's got huge tracts of land to look after, and it's almost like they're funded to look after about, I reckon, a tenth of it. Even maybe that's not even right. But to me, it requires the community to do their bit, because they can't. No matter how hard they could work 24/7 and still not be able to achieve what they want to achieve, because the money's not there.
Yeah, and it's kind of silly, isn't it? Because if you think about it in a business sense, if you have an asset that delivers your income, then you invest strategically in that asset over time to ensure you've got a sustainable return. And we've not really done that. And this isn't particular to this particular government, right? This is like successive governments have kind of put conservation on the back burner, kind of funded it not very much. It's often run by junior ministers. Yeah. And actually, if we're going to flip that on its head and say this is our number one asset for the ongoing economic prosperity of this country, and therefore we're going to chuck a whole lot of money in to make sure that it's okay, because when it gets down to ambulance at the bottom of the cliff, it actually costs you more to try and figure out how we're going to save 4,000 species. Well,
that tourist levy that's going up, there should be a decent percentage of that. It should go to transport, it should go to conservation. It should be direct feed into the Department of Conservation. It's probably not, though, but it should, shouldn't it?
It totally should. And last time we had a levy, which a little bit got tipped over by COVID because the borders
No one
closed.
came.
Half of it, and that was $35, right? Half of it went to the Department of Conservation. It's not clear yet. I don't know why, but it's not clear yet where that money's going. But I think you're right. I think New Zealanders would have a high expectation that significant portion of that should go to the Department of Conservation. We've heard Tama Pōtaka say, hey, look, we're in trouble, we can't afford to save all these things. So here's a perfect opportunity to invest in the asset that delivers our income.
Yep. Good on you, Nicola. Hey, always great to catch up, and the hoiho in the Bird of the Year. Good luck.
Have you switched off the Kia now? You can vote for both.
Yeah, but I can flip flop. I can vote, but I can also I can go 1, 2. You see, I can have Kia at 2, and the Waka Waka's making a move in my books as well. So yeah. I'm all over
I'll allow it.
Good on you, Nicola. Nice to see you.
You too.
Okay.
Duncan Garner, live.
Forrester Bird, lucky to have her. She's good. She's a good face of it. How's the feedback coming? Isaac, how are you, mate? Just hit your mic, mate.
Every time.
I know. It's only audio.
I'm great, thanks. How are you?
Good, mate. Good feedback?
Yeah, what have we got? Votes coming in for the New Zealand Falcon.
V8?
Yeah. April saying New Zealand does have very unique birds, and I totally agree with that.
We do, eh? Do you have a favourite bird?
Oh, great question. I am a fan of the tui.
Same.
In our little family holiday home up in Kaiteri, we have lots of tuis that come out in the morning, and it's beautiful.
Beautiful. It's beautiful. You're on holiday when the tui starts.
Oh, 100%. Yeah.
Can you do the tune? Can you whistle it?
No.
But
hey.
Yeah. Maybe off camera.
Yeah.
Off mic. Okay.
It's the Slam Dunk.
I got this email this week from the crew at the Outward Bound Adventure Course. It's a well-known, highly respected group of people putting on an outdoor experience to test you in the outdoors that culminates with them dropping you into the bush for the night on your own. No one else, just you and whatever else is out there. Now, my dad had always wanted me to test myself and sign up to this. I never did for all sorts of reasons. This week, I got an email inviting me to join a group going into the bush in November. I left it for a few days and I waited and waited for some sort of overwhelming fear to hit me so I could send an email back saying, sorry, I'm busy, I can't do this. I sent the email a short time ago. I said, thank you for the opportunity. I'm in. So it's with some sort of trepidation I said that I'm keen, but yeah, I'll come. My dad was so keen for me to do this, and I simply... I can't let him down or say no. I'm a bit scared. Sleepy Treasure Island's given me some belief, but I'm a bit anxious. They scale heights, and I'm scared of heights. I fell off the roof of a house as a 7-year-old. That's what's wrong with me. And I've never liked heights, you see. I freeze. So this is my chance to overcome that. If nothing else, that. So I'm in, and I'm excited and scared and nervous and anxious, but I'm in. And that's when you know you're alive, when you feel like that. So let's go and do it.
Duncan Garner, live.
That is us. Thank you for joining us today, and thank you for tuning in to Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, live with Lester's Oil, the premium New Zealand-made fish oil supplement backed by a study. Support joint, heart and brain health. Use the code Duncan for 10% off. Abouthealth.co.nz. Take as directed. Read the label. About Health Auckland. You can call them right now. I'll better take some of this Lester's Oil to Outward Bound. That'll keep me alive. 0800 999 309. The people are there. They're waiting for your calls, and mention my name, 10% off. That is us. This will be available as a podcast on Rover shortly, or wherever you get your podcast. Thanks for your support and your feedback. I'm Duncan at rover.nz. To my team, Isaac, Forrester, Zarina, and Maddie. We'll do this all again on Monday. Thank you so much. And remember, life is no dress rehearsal. Enjoy your weekend. It's no curtain raiser. Get out and live. Okay? Take care, folks. Thanks for watching.
That was Duncan Garner, Editor-in-Chief, live. Missed something on the live stream? Text Duncan to 3598 to listen back on the podcast. Want to get in touch? Call 0800 863 293.